This is the fourth tutorial as part of the Yoga for Back Pain series. This is my own personal practice. So over the course of my time as a yoga practitioner, over 20 years, I used a lot of backbending backbending practices to help me kind of break through a lot of pain. And now I'm working towards a drop back, just as something to kind of have some sort of goal that I'm working towards to kind of keep the benchmark moving, to keep me active and thinking, and to keep my body progressing. This might be something that you're working towards or not, but either way, a lot of these movements are very helpful and can have therapeutic practices, but also understand that this is not somebody who should be jumping into this who's brand new to yoga. It might make sense if you have other movement backgrounds, if you have experience with gymnastics or calisthenics or something where you have a certain amount of stability built into your body. Just making sure that you're not going for extreme expressions of shapes when these are things that are fresh to you. So I hope that this serves as kind of a complement to things that you're already doing. Just in terms of how it's set up, the sequence itself is only about 35 minutes. So when I practice, I'm doing a lot of other physical things. And so again, yoga is it's not the only thing I do. It's the most important thing that I do, but in a way that serves everything else that I want to do. So it's short. It's very specified in terms of I'm using these back poses to kind of reestablish my symmetry, and just build overall strength and mobility so that I can dance, I can run, do whatever. So with this particular sequence, you can kind of pull it apart and use it in pieces. So it's organized as a warm-up section, which has 3 rounds. Again, you can do just 1 round, and then, kind of pick and choose in terms of the poses that you do. And then the last sequence itself is what I call the assessment section. This is where I kind of do check-ins to see, how is my back bend progressing? What things do I need to look for? I don't spend a lot of time on this. I don't do a lot of repetitions because this is, it's supposed to be kind of an expression of that idea that it's the pose where you end up, not the pose that you're necessarily trying to do. So doing more repetitions of a drop back isn't necessarily helpful. You need to go back to the beginning and do more conscious movement in the warm-up. So you can see how that is weighted in terms of time that's dedicated to it in throughout the sequence. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope you enjoy it. It's a strong practice. Strong can be fun. Strong can be very painful, depending on how you look at it, how you like to move. So as always, enjoy your body, enjoy your movement, and let me know of any questions that you have. And as always, be well, be good, and hope to see you guys around soon. Let's begin standing by placing a block in between the legs to help keep our pelvis square to the front. Inhale, lift up to the right arm, lift up to the right side of the rib cage. Exhale, push down through the opposite foot. So find this breath pattern. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, push down. One more breath here. On the inhale, start to bring yourself back into vertical and preparing for the second side. Inhale. You can use your hand to guide that lifting. So the left side of the ribs are getting super, super long. Exhale, push down really strongly through the opposite foot. You have a couple choices here, whatever's most comfortable for the neck, either to look up or to look down, or taking the side bending even into the neck by stretching the right ear to the shoulder. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, pull down. Squeeze the block to keep the hip square. Last breath here. Inhale brings you up. Exhale. Grab the block. Place your hips against the wall with your knees in a 90-degree bend. So the objective here is to keep your trunk close to the thighs. Again, trying to make the rib cage long, so starting with the right side, pushing the left hip, the left side of your butt into the wall. Switching sides. Inhale. Try to make your right ribs, your right arm as long as possible. Exhale. Push the right side of your butt into the wall. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, coming into a forward fold, letting the hips rest against the wall. So still focused on the shoulders here and the upper back. I'm placing my hands in line with my feet and trying to spin my elbows in the way that we would in a dolphin pose. Okay. So complementary to all of this back bending is a little bit of handstand practice. You can take this or leave this out, working on the line here, tailbone in, pushing the ankles into the wall, pushing through the floor. 3 to 5 breaths, making sure you have enough energy to come down controlled and in a safe manner. Gently bringing your feet down to the floor, transitioning to the belly. So on this first round, when we're on the belly, we're going to stay low. Push everything from the toenails through the hip bones into the floor. Inhale, focus on the shoulder blades here. So if you can picture the shoulder blades, they're first just squeezing towards each other. Elbows try to stay tight. One more breath. Exhale. Switching out a down dog for a dolphin pose, making sure that the elbows are in line with the shoulders, that they're not flailing out like a butterfly. Let's get our animal poses right. Inhale, squeeze your middle back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, push through the elbows. Inhale, squeeze your middle back. Exhale, push the elbows. One more breath here. On the exhale, push the elbows all the way to straight. Coming back into your wall squat, knees 90 degrees, adjust the feet as needed. Grab your block. Inhale, stretch the arms as long as possible. Exhale, swing off to the right. Push your left hip through the wall. Keep your elbows locked. One more breath. Inhale, center. Exhale. Swinging off to the left. Keep the chest close to the knees. Push the right hip through the wall. Inhale, center. Exhale, heels of the hands push through the floor. Try to spin the elbows, kind of like a thigh master. Squeeze the elbows in towards the shins. Inhale. The last posture of this modified Surya sequence, this warm-up sequence, is just to find our line. So take the block to the low back. Tuck the tailbone slightly. As you inhale, feel your ribs pull backwards into the block. Now as one piece, inhale, stretch up as tall as you can. Exhale, push into the block. Inhale, from your belly button, pull everything up. Exhale, push the block. One more inhale, stretch as tall as you can. Exhale, release. Moving on to round 2, more of the same, just a couple variations here. Starting with our lateral bending, block between the legs. I want you to feel like you're pulling your thighs backwards, so the block is actually pulling towards the wall. Same, stretching up what we just completed, now adding the side bend to that. Inhale. The ribs stretch up, but the leg stretches down, so the length comes from the top and from the bottom. Lock your elbows. One more breath here. Inhale, make your way back to vertical. Exhale, second side. Again, establish the foundation by squeezing the block. The knees pull up, and then the thighs pull the block back towards the wall. Exhale. So rather than thinking sideways, I want you to think of an arch up and over. Notice the tendency to twist. If you feel like you're twisting, squeeze the block more for guidance. Relying more on internal cues of the sensation rather than external cues of the visual feedback. Inhale up. Exhale. Let's come into the wall squat. Knees 90 degrees. Little take a breath. Give yourself a little pep talk. Get ready for this. Exhale. Swing off to the right. Focus on making your waist long, ribs long, butt pushes into the wall. The more tired you get, the more your shoulders will twist. So you can use the sensation of pushing your chest towards your knee to help flatten out. Switch sides. Again, think about making the waist long by pulling the ribs forward, pushing the hip back. Inhale, moving to center. Exhale, forward fold. Resting the hips. So your legs are, your lower body's at an incline here. You can bend your knees as much as you'd like. Pushing the heels of the hands through the floor, almost like you're trying to push forward. And then squeezing the elbows in. So the focus of this forward fold is actually on the upper body rather than so much demand on the lower body. And also using the walls for a little bit of rest here. Preparing for the wall handstand. I'm switching legs, so the first time I led with the right. This time I'm leading with the left. Very slow and controlled. Making your way with the chest towards the wall. So again, the cues that I'm giving myself as I practice, I'm trying to reach my toenails towards the ceiling and push the heels of my hands through the floor. Reach up, push down. On your own time, very slowly, with control, start to make your way into a full prone position with or without the push-up, at your discretion, coming into your prone position. So we keep the focus of squeezing the shoulder blades from the last cobra. Now, we're just going to make it a little bit more challenging by bending the knees. Exhale. Push your hip bones through the floor. Push the top of the thighs into the floor. And the same focal point with the shoulder blades. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze the elbows in. Your neck should be pretty free here. So that means that you're squeezing from the back rather than the neck. Exhale. Coming into your dolphin. Making sure that you measure. Establish your foundation. Elbows more narrow than the hands. Pop the hips up. Inhale. Squeeze the shoulder blades. As you squeeze the shoulder blades together and down, you should feel like the neck gets longer. Exhale, push the elbows through the floor. And again, if you're trying to dial up the volume on this, you just walk the feet progressively closer. A couple more breaths. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, preparing for the wall squat. And again, as you get tired, the squat gets more demanding. So just checking in that you start at 90, chest touching the knees, and then start to work your way laterally. Working to the right. Push the hip. Lock the elbows. Inhale, stretch. Come back to center. Exhale, moving to the left. Chest is close to the knees. Inhale, stretch your ribs, stretch your elbows. Exhale, push your hips into the wall. Inhale, make your way back to center. Exhale, our variation of the forward fold. So I'm actually not using the wall for the incline, but I have a lot of flexibility in my hamstrings. So again, that's a progressive thing. You start with a lot of lean, and then progressively it just comes more, the hips come more vertical as your hamstrings allow. Mountain pose, finding our line. Place the block at the low back. Fix your pants, fix your shirt, fix your feet. Inhale. Pull your low back into the block. This happens with the breath. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, pull the low back into the block. Inhale, everything from the lower body. Pull the ankles up, pull the knees up, pull the ribs up, pull the arms up. Exhale, back into the block. Couple more breaths. Inhale, stretch as tall as you can from the knees all the way through the fingertips. Exhale, keep it in line against the wall. Last breath. Exhale. As you're ready, release the arms, release the block. Moving on to round 3, we're going to turn the side bend sideways, placing the block at the hip at the wall. Again, setup is the same, baby toes are parallel. Inhale, stretch the ribs. Exhale, push the hip into the block. Inhale, pull the rib cage up and over. Exhale, push the feet down through the floor. One more breath here. Check out, make sure that those elbows stay straight. Exhale, release. Second side. So making sure that this is at the bone, where the thigh bone starts, not where the waist starts. So it should be at the wider part of the hip, not the soft part. Inhale, pull the rib cage up and over. Again, this actually starts with the kneecaps. Pull the kneecaps up and over. Exhale, push the feet down into the floor. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, push down. Checkpoints. Feet stay parallel, knees stay up, hip to the wall. Last breath here, keep the elbows straight. Inhale, bring yourself back to vertical. Exhale, grab your block, come into the wall squat. 90 degrees. This round moving dynamically. Coming into a slight cat spine. Not over relying on the low back. Exhale side, inhale center, exhale side, inhale center, alternating. Inhale, exhale right, inhale center, exhale right, inhale center, exhale right, inhale center, exhale left, inhale center, last one. Exhale, release. Coming into our forward fold, heels of the hands next to the baby toes. An option to progressively bring the feet closer together. Moving into the wall handstand. Chest to the wall. Slow and controlled. Inhale. Pull your toenails all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale. Push the hands through the floor. Inhale. Stretch the legs longer up. Exhale. Push the arms longer down. Slow and controlled, making your way back to a prone position. With or without the push-up. Again, bending the knees. Pushing through the top of the thighs, but thinking that you want to keep the tailbone in. So think that you're trying to tuck a little bit. Okay, working from bent elbows into straight elbows. Again, this should be in the middle back, not in the low back. So same focal point. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades. Use your fingertips. Pull up through the arms. Squeeze, pull, exhale, push the hips. Squeeze, pull, exhale, push the hips. Coming into dolphin. Roll the shoulders off of the neck. Exhale, push through the elbows. Inhale, squeeze the back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, push the elbows. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, wall squat. Taking the moment to mentally prepare. Inhale, exhale, again dynamically. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Keep the chest low. Inhale, center, exhale. Try to find your rhythm. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, left, inhale, exhale, right, inhale, exhale, left, inhale, exhale, right. This is it. Inhale, exhale, left, inhale, exhale, forward fold. Keep squeezing the elbows in towards the legs. It should feel like your back gets super, super wide. So it's the opposite shoulder position from when you're in cobra. Mountain pose. Block to the low back. So even though we don't have a block between the thighs, we want to feel that same action. Like you're trying to pull the block back towards the wall. Inhale, stretch up, right to that very last point of the fingernails. Exhale, push your low back into the wall. One more breath. Exhale, gently release. Take a seat on the floor with the legs in front of you. Now, you can start with the legs open more in a V if the hamstrings are a little restrictive. Inhale. You can bend the knees a little bit so you can pull the belly button forward. Exhale. Point the toes. Inhale. The focal point here is still the shoulder blades. Squeeze them together. Pull your ribs up. Exhale. Push the whole trunk forward. Inhale. Squeeze the middle back. Lift up. Exhale. You can see how low my shoulders stay in relation to my head. Okay. Coming to a cat spine. Drop the shoulders. Flex the ankles. So we don't want a full curve here. I want to just think that I'm making my arms as long as possible. So you can see that my shoulder blades are basically coming off of my back. Push your knuckles. Push that one single middle vertebra behind you. So just think about the length between those 2 points. Let's go the other direction again. Point your toes. Pull your belly button towards your thighs. Exhale, squeeze your middle back. Inhale. You can see it looks like I'm trying to drag my heels a little bit. This is going to help me get my trunk forward. Exhale, push the belly. Coming into that cat spine shape. Again, think about the length between that one single middle vertebra and the tip of your finger. Make that point as far as possible. So not the head, not the pelvis, just that middle point in the back. Last one here. Inhale. Ribs up. Point your toes. So notice this big scoop I'm trying to make. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and down. They are drawing a V towards your pelvis. Exhale, push your belly button. Inhale, squeeze your middle back. Exhale, push your belly button, push the toes. Last breath here. Everything that you were just squeezing, now you're stretching it. So the back gets super wide and rounded. Big flex here. Moving into a reverse table. So the hands are one forearm's distance behind you. You can start with them more turned out if needed, progressively working the fingertips towards the hips. Inhale, giant roll the shoulders. Squeeze your middle back. Swing your butt forward and up. Again, it's the same focal point. The shoulder blades squeeze in and down, drawing a V. Exhale. Make your elbows as straight and as long as possible. Inhale, squeeze your middle back. Exhale, push the hands, straighten the elbows. On the exhale, release down. Now coming into this wall cobra. It's tight. So I have about one long blocks distance. You can take a little bit more liberty if needed. The block should start under the bones. Now I'm taking the second block at my forehead level to begin with. This is the first of 3 rounds. Elbows. First, I'm going to let myself hang so I can feel that middle back section. Now from here, huge, huge, huge push through the elbows. And then I'm trying to pull my chest up through my arms. Take a breath. Exhale, push the elbows and then squeeze your back and your armpits to pull your collarbone up. Exhale, push. Inhale, squeeze and pull up through the arms. One more breath here. Keep pulling up through the arms. You should feel that the shoulders drop away from the neck. Get that block out of there. Very gently come into a cat spine. Now I am going to include my neck because it was part of the back bend. Look at the belly button. Tuck your tailbone as much as possible. Feel where the bones are stacked, meaning the shoulders are one line directly over the wrists. Not going forwards, not going backwards. Setting up again. Okay. One really important thing is that the legs are not in a V. This will automatically compress your low back, which is very counterproductive and dangerous. So start with the legs almost touching, the feet almost touching. Take a breath. Exhale. I'm progressively moving the block further down. So it was at my forehead. Now it's more in front of my face. Big exhale. Dig the elbows through the block. Inhale. Pull your trunk up through the arms. Exhale. Push. Inhale. Squeeze your middle back to pull yourself through the arms towards the ceiling. Push. Inhale. Squeeze and pull up. Exhale, push. Inhale, squeeze and pull up. Shoulders stay off of the neck. One more breath here. Keep the legs long and tight. When you're ready, after 5 breaths, with control, make your way back into your cat spine. Take your time. Now this second cat pose, we're going to make a little bit stronger, a little bit. I just need like a little bit more release. So I'm going to tuck my chin, look at my belly button. And then as I'm ready, I'm going to think about lifting the knees 2 millimeters. Nothing crazy, just a little bit. Squeeze the low belly. And then again, you can bring them closer. A tighter shape. Needs a little bit more strength. Okay. I'm moving on to round 3. Place your hips on the block. Preparing the second block. So you can see here that I'm not moving the face block a lot. You can, because I'm adding the legs. Exhale, push the elbows through the block. Inhale, pull the chest up. And again, I'm not going backwards. I'm going up towards my hands. Exhale, push. Inhale, pull your collarbone up towards your thumbs. Keep squeezing your feet towards your head. Couple more breaths to your capacity. Exhale. Counter pose. We're going to use the wall for this counter pose. Clear some space. So you want to place not the crown of the head, more kind of 3/4 towards the back of the head. But it'll make sense once you have the pressure. So starting with just a regular cat pose, make sure my body's able to properly move. Again, this is fine, but just to show you another option. So I'm pushing my head into the wall, trying to look at my belly button, and then lifting the knees. I'm trying to think about making my body into a full circle. Again, the shoulders stay off the neck. Let's move on. Sitting between the heels, using a block, same spot, right at the base of the shoulder blades, making circles. Exhale, pull the elbows towards the wall. Inhale, huge circle here. Exhale. Try to keep the elbows straight the entire time. Couple more. Exhale, squeeze. If you can put your brain in your shoulder blades, you want to feel the shoulder blades squeeze so tight they're trying to touch the block. Last round here. Inhale, stretch the arms, pull the belly button up. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades towards the block. Make your way into a cat pose, always taking time to do a counter pose between each round of these back bends. So our second variation of this, we're going to come about an arm's distance away from the wall. I'm going to circle my hands so they're next to my forehead like a wheel pose. Take the time to set it up, make sure the hands are even. Exhale, squeeze the elbows into each other the way you did to the shins before. I'm doing a little bit of pulsing. Again, all of this effort should be directed towards the shoulder blades squeezing together and down. Squeeze the elbows together. Inhale, pull your belly button up. Exhale, push the wall. Bend, squeeze, lift, push. Bend your elbows, squeeze them together. Lift your trunk, push the wall. Bend, squeeze, lift, push. Bend, squeeze, lift, push. At this point, you have the option to add your head. And slowly start to make your way out, coming into your counter pose, your cat spine, your hunching. Coming into our final round using this kneeling position for back bend prep, making sure that the shoulders are properly rotated, setting the hands up like wheel. We're going to do the exact same thing we did before, the pulsing in the kneeling position with the hips down. So same action with the elbows. We're squeezing in, pulling the ribs up, pushing the wall. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. If you feel like some space opened up, you walk the hands further down the wall. This is a tighter back bend. It's not necessary. This is just how you progress it. You know you're ready to progress when you can work with fully extended elbows. After a couple of breaths, coming into the full extension by adding the hips. So squeeze the elbows together, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the ribs, push the wall away into fully extended elbows. Add the hips. Take a couple of very slow, intentional breaths. And then after you come out of the posture, take your counter posture. Now, this is the check-in. This is just where I like to see where my body is in terms of my back bend. It will change day to day, but, broad strokes across time. So, grab a heavy block, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, pull your ribs up, pull your chest up. Exhale, pull the block down. So I'm not thinking front to back. I'm thinking top to bottom. Inhale, from the belly button all the way up. Exhale, pull the arms down towards the knees. I'm keeping my head in for the time being. 5 to 10 breaths. Standing cat pose, standing hunching. Just resting the hands against the knees, tucking the tailbone a little bit. My next check-in posture. Again, we're just giving ourselves some more obstacles. So roll the shoulders, squeeze the elbows super tight. Fingers are facing upwards, and I'm pushing my hands directly into my butt. So this is just encouraging me to use my hips. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades super, super tight. Lift up. Exhale, push. So the back bend happens naturally because of gravity. I want to stay super focused on the staying in my legs. Inhale, squeeze the knees up as tight as you can. Exhale. Your hands will cue you to push the hips. Your butt should be super, super tight here. Inhale, pull your kneecaps. Exhale, push your hips. One more breath. Inhale brings you up. Exhale, standing counter posture. And here we go, coming into our full drop back prep, rotating the arms behind the ears, doing a little wiggle, making sure that they're properly in place. Squat. So start with the squat just so you can really feel the shoulder blades squeezing in. It might be a little uncomfortable in the tailbone, but we'll take that out. I want us just to be very, very active in the shoulder blades to begin with. From there, pull your tailbone in, pull the kneecaps all the way up. Inhale is the pulling up from the ankles to the knees, to the ribs, to the elbows. Exhale, push forward. Inhale, kneecaps up, ribs up. Squeeze the back. Exhale. So when you're pushing, I want you to feel like you're pushing the big toes. The drop back should be manageable for at least 5 breaths so that you're in a position that your body is receiving. Find your depth. Inhale brings you up. Find your counter posture. Great work, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Let's take some rest.